Welcome to the K-Files. Today, in honor of Virtual Reality Month here at Hollywood Redux, we are investigating Scully's skills with a cyber laser machine gun in FPS. Welcome back to the lush basement office. It's Virtual Reality Month here in the Hollywood Redux studio. We are celebrating VR month with our video game podcast IGL. They've got a lot of great stuff going on, VR gameplay, and some really cool stuff that they're highlighting in their episodes. So definitely check that out. And we, in honor of Virtual Reality Month, we're looking at probably the coolest VR themed episode.
Damn it!
FPS.
Yes. First person shooter.
Yeah.
What a great episode, dude.
Yeah, you liked it?
You know what I realized? We really need to go laser tagging with Moulder and Scully after seeing this episode. So, you guys, hit me up.
Like every dream I ever dreamed.
We'll make this a fun day. I promise.
I feel like that's like a pretty solid heaven for me.
Right? Who wouldn't
like
want to go laser
afterlife
tagging or virtual reality like playing?
Just perpetually like to live out eternity playing laser tag with Moulder and Scully. That'd be fine.
Dopest thing.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to see them together when they were in the Matrix together, fighting their way out. It was pretty fun. Scully, of course, was the badass saving the day. You know, any episode that features Scully saving the day, I think we can file that under S for Scully saves the day. And there's a whole lot of those, but this one's a pretty fun one.
Like, talk about having a badass intro, like...
Yeah, well, it's one hell of a prologue to that episode before the title sequence plays out. God. And did you notice, well, maybe you didn't, I don't know, fans of the 90s Nickelodeon show Salute Your Shorts might recognize in this episode the character Donkey Lips, or the actor who played that character, Donkey Lips, was one of the shooters in the beginning who gets killed.
Seeing the show.
Well,
see, I don't know. It wasn't my show, so I can't say, but I was a 90s kid.
For me, it was a bizarre thing. I think he must have been Canadian. Although, no, wait, actually, probably not, because the show had moved to LA by the 7th season.
I wouldn't doubt it. They were mostly we're all Canadian on the show, right?
Well, when they were shooting in Vancouver, but now we're in LA. This is LA time. See, we because in honor of
makes
Virtual
sense
Reality
Month, there's a little more Tanner and stuff.
Yeah, we're in our regular scheduled programming. We're in the 4th season, and we wanted to take advantage of VR month to highlight William Gibson, his contribution to the X-Files. He actually writes 2 episodes for the show. The first one he wrote is, of course, Kill Switch in the 5th season, which we've I think mentioned before. It's a great one. It's, I think, a richer story for me than this episode. This one he co-wrote with a partner, with Tom Maddox.
This one he had a lot of fun with. You can tell.
This is more lighthearted for sure.
Absolutely.
So I take it you really liked it.
I did. I enjoyed it. I mean, you actually get to see Moulder and Scully actually have fun within an episode and be badass heroes at the very end and be shot completely with paint and stuff. Paintballing. That's what we should go do. You guys, scratch laser tag. Paintballing it is.
I see why you like this episode. You just really want to go paintball. It sparked in you a reinvigoration.
I just really want to hang out with those guys at the same bed. I mean, come on.
No, but you're right. The this episode is sort of approaching the end of an era. It's like the sunset of a time on the show for the characters, because it's before William comes along. It's before the Duchovny's slow departure from the show. It's a time when there are a lot of lighthearted episodes in this era, like the Great Malini, the Goldberg variation. Episodes that are more lighthearted, that are flirtatious with the two characters, that have maybe a more just a romantic element with the two characters. You can, and this is also, we should note, MSR shippers, whatever they're calling themselves these days, the fans of the relationship. It's good to note this is a time when they may or may not be in a romantic relationship. I think they are, because it's after Millennium, which is when they have the first kiss that's not a dream or in a different time zone or time period with World War II era Scully. It's everybody's conscious in the right time period, and nobody's under the influence of psychotropic drugs. There are no,
You should totally you always have a little shipping segment on this thing.
It's my favorite part of the show. Well, it was for a long time. Now I've come to really see it
I don't
as
know,
more of
Katie.
a complete. Well, that's all I watched it for a lot of the time, and I realize now that I was missing a lot of the really cool, evocative stuff in the storytelling. So I'm really glad to get a chance to pay more attention to that. And I think we talk about more of that on the show even than the MSR stuff.
True.
But I do like to point it out because it's a murky territory.
Yeah.
A lot of fans don't really
And there are plenty of fans
know.
out there that love it too. So
People want to know, and I can pretty much pin it down, I think, after having now rewatched, and I think, so you can say, because they had that first kiss in Millennium that was, like, real, like, okay, that's a kiss. That's, like, and it was very low-key. It was very, like, blasé, whatever. And so then we have that, and then but it's also, this episode is before All Things, which is, like, when it's confirmed that there's some kind of a relationship going on. We know that. We have that in writing from Gillian Anderson. She once said as much in an interview I remember seeing on the DVDs that she gave, where she was talking about writing it. I think we've told the story on the show before, but the crux of it was just that Chris Carter and she were intending to reveal that these two characters might be sleeping together. Like, that's what was there in All Things. So we have some information. So, and this episode is right in between that period, and so there you go. So it's like, and they're very, like, cute. Like, they're cute together. Like, I do feel a little bit, maybe you can give me your opinion on this as well, but I did feel a little bit that William Gibson, while a great sci-fi writer, I love Neuromancer. That's one of my favorite stories. That's if you have never read that, it's really a cool story about this hacker, and it's cyberpunk, and so if that interests you, he's the guy. He's the cyberpunk guy for novels anyway. But anyway, and in this episode, I felt like maybe a little bit it was more about the story that he was telling, and not necessarily telling the story of the characters as much, because Moulder kind of
are you talking about Moulder and Scully in particular?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I felt like it was more just kind of like, this is the story, and the characters themselves were not necessarily are completely Moulder and Scully as richly as they're normally written. But then again, it was a more lighthearted episode, even though, I mean, a lot of people die. Like, it's kind of brutal. Like, the
Pretty
death
much.
count
Like,
is impressive.
Talk about
for a computer.
going into virtual reality and coming back. I mean, you really don't, but
Yeah.
you get it. Sorry.
This is like the worst case scenario for virtual
Seriously,
reality.
makes you not want to do it at all.
Well, Kill Switch was like the worst case scenario for AI, and this is like the sister to that. This is like the follow-up to that, which is like, oh, and also watch out for virtual reality because, hey, it could murder you.
I did like the fact the Lone Gunmen
And here's how.
were in this episode.
Oh, yeah, well,
And seeing them, like, be badass, too, and fight in the virtual reality alongside Scully.
you gotta love the Lone Gunmen, and actually,
And Moulder,
William
so.
Gibson, actually, those were his favorite. Well, he loved the characters.
I mean,
and
who doesn't?
so he purposely included them in this story in this way, and I love when they pop up. They're so fun. I love their dynamic with Moulder and Scully, and I think Bruce Harwood gives my favorite line reading of anything in the show in that scene where he is cheering on Scully, and he says something to the effect of, like, Scully's on fire, I think is what he says. And I was just like, remember when he was ice skating in that third season one? Like, like, what a wonderful human. Like, just Canadian. Anyway. But what do you think? What's your opinion on the characterization of the characters? Did you feel like they were written true to the characters, or did you feel like it was more about?
It was more, well, like you said, it was definitely more about the overall story, which I'm kind of glad, because we always get the Moulder Scully characters storyline.
True.
Always in every episode. So having a break from that was very fun. What I'm more interested in, and what I have questions is, these two pretty much developers who did the virtual reality game,
Oh yeah.
they knew about this the whole time and they didn't speak up? Was there previous murders? Like, that's what I want to know, and that's what I would like to investigate.
Okay, I can answer that for you. So, no, Ivan didn't know. Phoebe did
Shady.
she created. It's Phoebe's monster.
Shady.
It's a monster of the week. We haven't even said that.
Monster episode.
And it's Phoebe's monster that she created. And this is one other element of the writing that I was not as keen on this rewatch, is that I felt that I felt like the story was spelled out really explicitly. Like the characters were very explicative in their dialogue. Phoebe really spelled it out. She said it's because of all the male aggression, like that she just kind of spelled out all the elements of the typically what are on the X-Files invisible. The stuff that and when you sort of feel it more than you get told the information, when instead of hearing Phoebe talk about the male aggression, maybe we saw more windows into what made Phoebe do it. Like we just saw more of her struggle with that industry, with her experience like with that industry that would cause her to do what she did.
Right.
But we didn't really get, and who can do that any time? I mean, it's it's a time question. But I did feel like it cheapened, not cheapened, but just made the story more shallow. That's why I said before that Kill Switch was more richly written story, more a deeper story. But nonetheless, like I love the lighthearted moments. I love Scully getting to kick ass anytime that happens.
And their slow-mo walk at the very end.
And I love Moulder and Scully, and I love 7th season. It's just a nice time before all the darkness descends.
Before hell breaks loose.
Well, and then it's like William comes and Duchovny leaves the show, and we get Doggett and Reyes, and it's just a very different show. So while it's not, it's not the end, it's sort of a transformation of it's the sunset on this era of the show, though, that was Mulder and Scully having fun adventures through time and space. So, but it will continue to examine even the later episodes. All right. Well, I think we've shined the light onto our special virtual reality month selection, FPS. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Katie. You can find me at KMoles on all social media.
And I'm your co-host, Crisalia. You can find me at Crisalia on all social media. And we're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
We'll see you next week.
Please subscribe.
Below.
Please check out other stuff. Check out the video right next door.
Just check out all the videos.
Katie. You get what I'm saying.
I'm with you. The truth
Bye, guys.
The truth is next door to this window. Thank you. Bye.